Okay, we're going to go over a quick how-to with your peel and stick modified bitumens, not the torch down, not the cold app, or the old hot mop. This is the peel and stick application. So you have two ways to do it. This is the residential method, not the commercial method. Don't get confused. This is how we do residential. And we're going to talk about the difference between living space, which is heated, and non-living space, which is not heated. In this example, we have a little old flat top, a house built in the 30s, 40s, 50s that had the flat top. And it's got a porch coming off the back. This is an open porch, not heated. This is heated. So you know heat is rising up to the top here. Here, nothing. It's just cold, a cold application. If you're doing a peel and stick application on an open patio that is not heated, and it's a 112 pitch or greater, most cities will allow you to use a single course of peel and stick, mod bit, straight to the deck. Now, when I say that, you still need to put perimeter metal on it, and you still need to take asphalt primer. You need the asphalt primer in an aerosol, and you need to spray your perimeter metal and stick your cap sheet to it. That'll keep water from getting underneath it. Wind will not be able to get underneath it. It's the key. The key is the perimeter, and the key product that you have to use is a primer, an aerosol primer like a Henry's or something similar, spray format. If you buy it in the bucket, it will take 24 hours to dry. You don't have time to do that. So if you're out there on site, you always order a can of primer, spray primer, to go with any mod bit job. You have to use it, and perimeter metal. That is a must. So you can get by with a single course here stuck to the deck. Now, once you get to living space, that's different. You need two layers here. You need a base sheet and a cap sheet. The perimeter metal is sandwiched between the two layers. And you still have to use your Henry's primer or your asphalt primer aerosol to pre-prime all your metal before you put your cap sheet on. That keeps the wind from ever getting up and underneath it. Most guys will take some roof adhesive at the end, and they'll caulk the entire perimeter and tool it in. They'll tool it in all the way around so that wind can never get underneath it. So here is the application of this flat top. I'm calling this flat top 9 feet by 9 feet. A lot of them are 9 by 9. The first thing you do is you put down your base sheet. Your base sheet is a thinner version of a full mod bit. It's just a little bit thinner. Now you can get a full thickness mod bit for a base sheet. It's more money. It's about the same as granulated, but typically you can get by with a base sheet. Now when you start your base sheet, you take your full 39-inch roll and you cut it in half. You start with a half roll or a half sheet, and then there's a 4-inch overlap that you use. So with a 4-inch overlap, you run your next two courses. So your base sheet's on, it's all the way out to the edge. You got a 4-inch overlap. You started with a half sheet, a split roll. Always start with a split roll because you're going to have the offset for your seams. Next thing you do is you put on your perimeter metal. Perimeter metal should be 4x4 or 4x5. You want 4 inches. You want 4 inches to the deck, and your perimeter metal is shaped like this. This is opened up. It's not 90 degrees. It's about 100, 110, 120 degrees, and it's got a hem on it. This is 4 inches minimum here, and this could be 4 or 5. If all you can get is galvanized, if you can't get it in the color you want, then go ahead and get galvanized and paint it. Have a can of paint to paint it the color you want to match the roof. That's what we do. That's how we normally do it. Now, to put this metal on the perimeter, which is shown here in blue, you have to use a simplex nail, which has got a metal cap. A simplex nail looks like a plastic cap, but instead of a plastic cap, it's got a metal cap on it. You could get by with a roofing nail if you had to, with a white head, just got to use more of them. But if this is your metal, you're putting these simplex, they're usually square, about every 9 inches. If you use nails, you better use about every 3 or 4 inches. Once you put that perimeter metal down, and it's actually blue down here, Then you take your aerosol primer, which here is in brown, and you spray coat all that top exposed metal. Make sure you're pointing that aerosol in the right direction so you don't get black asphalt all over your paint or your roof. They should be a mass. These guys should take a piece of cardboard, cut a shield, hold the shield up, spray it against the shield so they don't make a mess. That's really key. Use a shield. Once that primer is sprayed, it sets up in minutes. You should never put a peel and stick mod bit roof when it's 60 degrees or less. I think the manufacturers are a little different, but most manufacturers want 60 degrees and rising for that to adhere. If you put it on when it's 30 or 40 degrees, it will not stick. It will not roll out, it won't lay flat, it will look terrible, and it will probably leak and blow off. So this is key, guys. 60 degrees or lower, don't install a peel and stick mod bit. There's better products. So if you have to put a flat top on in the winter, you've got to use TPO or PVC or rubber, preferably TPO. TPO is 10 feet. Most of your flat tops are less than 10 feet. There's no seams. So just one piece of TPO would do it. That's a different training module for later. Now, once you've nailed off all your perimeter metal that's been primed, now you put your cap sheet on it. And if you notice, the cap is a green. The cap sheet goes over, so you've staggered your seams now, 16 to 18 inch stagger on your seams, so you're not lining up your seams. And you take a roller, you're supposed to take a steel roller, if they're about this wide with a handle, and you roll those seams out against that primed metal, and it will stick to that primer. After you put your cap sheet on, you take your solar seal or whatever adhesive that we're using, and you go and you caulk in the entire perimeter with a caulk and tool it in with your finger so that caulking is pressed in, and you're done. And that will last. The wind won't peel it off, and water will not get under it. This is how you have to do a living space mod bit system.